So this is to add joints for things like I want to move this mustache around independently of like the face and stuff. This is what you're gonna have to do. So in this file, I have my character bound to the skeleton. This step has to happen before you bind it to your skeleton. So don't like do all of your skin weights and stuff and then do this. Do this before. So if you go into, I mean, you technically could do it out of order, but I'd rather you have all the joints set up before you go in there. So I'm going to go to unbind skin. That skin is no longer bound to that at all. If I move these controllers around, they don't affect the thing, or they don't affect the character. So what we need to do is add our joints in first. And I'm going to go to skeleton, create joints. And I'm going to go from a front orthographic view. And I'm just going to click some joints in here. I only need one at like the inside of this. I need one at this bendy part right there, and then one at that last. And you could also do that tip joint that we were seeing in a lot of the models, but it's not completely necessary. But I'll put it in there anyways. And so now we have that armature right there. What we need to do is align that in all of our different perspectives. Move that into place. All right, cool. And I'm going to shift click all of those and then click orient joints. That's going to make it kind of point down the joint chain towards each other automatically. Next step, so we have our joints in the scene already, right? Now we need to make that control rig that will move the joints around. And it's always good to, I find it always easy to just create a group, create empty group, or Control G, either one will work. And then you'll see that in your outliner. This is the point where you need to start using your outliner for this stuff. And then you can go to create curve tool. Oh wait, no, sorry. Nerd primitive circle. I'm gonna scale this down. It's gonna be a small control. Like I don't want like big controls on the face, you know, really. I'm gonna name this L mustache 1 or control 1, CTRL1. And I'll name this, the same thing. I'll just name it control group 1 because that's the group underneath that. And I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. And you'll see my scale and stuff has values in it, so let's just modify freeze transformations on that. And then I'm gonna middle click, drag that into the group. So now I just have one group, an empty group, with a mustache control inside of it. Now, I'm going to Control D. So I have a group 2 in there. I'm naming that Control 2. And I'm going to Control D again, group 3. And I'm doing this because I'm creating new controls, right? These are all separate controls now. These are all separate. But these need to be aligned to this joint structure up here. And I created 1, 2, 3 joints that I want to rotate around. And that's why I duplicated these this thing 3 times as well. So now I'm going to middle click, drag this group 3 into the circle for group 2. I'm going to drag this group 2 into the NURB circle for group 1. So you can see this you can see this hierarchy that I'm starting to make. So I have these controls It's all about having these 3 controls in there that have a buffer group underneath them. The buffer group will have all of your like rotation and shit in there, all those values, but you'll only be able to see this control, and that control will have zeroed out values. So now we need to start moving and matching these groups to the mustache itself. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to honestly just go into show, and I'm going to turn off polygons because I don't need to see this right now. I'm just matching up to the joints themselves. And I'm just holding V to snap it to that. And remember, I'm moving the group right now, not the control. See, now if I click on the control, I have all zeroed out values, but if I look at the group, it has like all these ugly values that aren't really even, they aren't close to anything. So here we go, but that's where that important information goes for that. And then we move this next group over here. We're gonna snap it to that this mustache joint there. And we'll match the rotation as best we can. Right there. Then I'm going to do the same thing with group 3. Snap it to that. Then rotate it to the proper position. So now I have a bunch of different mustache like controls and the joints in position. So this is like set to go. Now the last step is to constrain this joint, because like we have this joint hierarchy here, we have this control hierarchy here. So we need this control hierarchy to drive this joint hierarchy. So if we go into constraint, you're going to select the driver and then the driven first. So you're going to select your NURB control and then the driven. You can go to constrain parent. You're going to do the same throughout all of this. So driver, then driven, constrain, parent, driver, driven, constrain, parent. So now when I move these controls, the mustache moves with it. And you'll see that I have still 2 separate hierarchies. The very last step is to get this joint hierarchy for the mustache back into the hierarchy for the skeleton itself. And you're gonna have to unreference that, the skeleton layer. Sorry, I'm like trying not to sneeze right now. And you're gonna click the child and then the parent. This isn't parent constraining, this is just normal parenting. And you're gonna press P to parent. And notice how it drew a joint to that new, to that other control, or to that other joint. It like connected them right here. And then the last step is to, because if we move this, if we move the head, the entire head will move, or like if we move the body will move, but that control group doesn't move with that, our controls for our character. So we need to parent this control under this head node. So if we click this mustache control group, shift click this, so it's child and then parent, and then press P. Now the mustache moves along with the head. It's magic. It is magic. And then we can turn on our character again. Oops. Oops. Oh, I just have it turned off in the viewport. My bad. Show polygons. You can see those new controls that I made in here. They kind of blend in with the character right now. So let me select all of those, and I'm going to go to the attribute editor. Then I'm going to go to object display, drawing overrides, enable overrides. I'm going to do, it looks like they use this blue for the left side of the character, so I'll do that for these as well. So I did it for that one right there. And then drawing overrides, enable override. Let's use that same blue, just so we can better visualize our controls there. And there you go. So the last step would be to select your joints. Oops. Bad. Select your joints and select your mesh and skin. Bind skin, make sure you use joint hierarchy. And then the skinning is going to look fucked up on this. But you'll see that now my joints move the mustache. So not too bad. It was less than 20 minutes for adding controls like this. The real problem is going to be skinning, though. That's going to be, it's going to be a doozy, my friends. And I'm going to touch into that right now. Unless anyone has questions about adding joints. Anyone confused about that process? I know you're not like quite to that level yet, and a lot of you, to be honest, don't even need to add joints. There's just a few, like Keith is going to have to add some joints, I think, and Ricardo is going to have to add some joints as well. I do have a tutorial on that on YouTube that I linked in Discord and in chat. So once you get to that step, and it looks like both of you are pretty much already there, you can feel free to watch that video. If it doesn't work for you, by all means, hit me up. Like, send me an email, send me your file, be like, dude, this is broken, I can't get it to work. What's going on? And I'll let you know what's up. Because I don't want people to be like lost at this step. Keith, you could also maybe use some for your ears if you put like a joint in like the top of the skull and then one at the top of the ear. You kind of rotate that around. Might be cool. Might get some nice movement out of it, but by all means, not necessary. So that's that. The next, you can cover skinning next week in more depth. Yeah. Well, I'm going to cover skinning right now, just so everyone can see it, because I want everyone to be aware of it. Like it's going to take a long time. And if you can get a head start on it, that'd be amazing, because these rigs are due in 2 weeks, and this is always the tightest deadline. This and of course the final, because yeah, it's the final. There's always gonna be crunch there. So when I'm talking about skinning, some of you are probably confused. You can see visually what it's doing though. You can see visually what it's doing when I pull up on this IK control. It's bulging out on that on that lat. And we can visualize that by looking at the skin weights. So if we go to skin, paint skin weights, it's going to open up a tool. And oh, what is that? We have a black and white gradient in there. And if we don't need this, we don't need rapid read anymore. If your skin weights are messed up like in this area and you want them to be better, you have to open up the tools right here. And you'll see a list of all of the joints in your hierarchy. And as I just go up and down this, you can see like what joints are affecting which area. And what this means is that, so if I go to the neck, you can see that the neck has control over only these areas that are in white. So like right here, it has a lot of control, has a good amount of control there. Down here is when it falls off. So when this neck joint bends, it's going to affect all of those verts. See how it's like slightly pulling those ones down here? That's because it has a little bit of influence there. That's what they call it. Little bit of influence. So, all right, super fast way to get back into that tool is to left click your mesh, hold right click, and then go to paint skin weights tool. It's so much faster than going to like the menu. Like, and you'll probably be doing it a lot. So I don't want the neck to have as much influence there. But I'll leave that for now. What the biggest offender is, my God, this lat. So let's see what's going on in there. I know that when I pull up on my arm right here, as I pull up on this left shoulder joint, that it's really torquing this lat area. So if I hold right click and go into paint skin weights tool, I can look for left shoulder joint. And aha, look at how white it is. Look how much influence it has over this stuff down here. And it shouldn't. It just shouldn't. So instead, what we need to do is figure out exactly where we want this influence to go and add it to that instead. So if we go to, you can collapse this. You can collapse this. You can see clavicle probably has a little bit too much control as well. But what really is going on is that we need spine 4 to have more control over this area. So if I click on spine 4, then I go to add, because I'm adding influence to spine 4 now. I want to add away from that arm, right? So if I go into full opacity, full value, it's going to add a value of 1 on this skin right here. Look at that. Boom. It's just completely one-to-one parented to that spine 4 joint now with this white. That's what this powerful white means, is that it's completely controlling that area. And I don't really want that. I'm just going to turn down the opacity then, you know. Look at that. Okay. Starting to paint it back to the core there. I want the core to have a little bit more control over this. Also, good thing to know, you can mirror skin weights. So by all means, only paint one side of this bad boy up. And look, as I'm adding influence, you can see that it's sliding back into that pec area. If you want to control the size of this brush, hold B and left click and drag in, and there you go. So now I can like redefine that pec sort of. And we can get these verts to not be as bulging out this way. it's gonna be a long process, guys. I'm not lying about that. It's gonna take a while. We need to add these back in there because we're gonna have to do this for pretty much every joint probably as you go through. We do get like some time save from the geodesic voxel binding that we do when we bind skin, but it's still just not good enough, you know. And sometimes, well, honestly, a lot of the times I just nuke all the weights and do them myself because there is another feature in here called smooth. So if I go into, let's see, let's look at these weights now. So if I go into like spine 3 and spine 4, if I right click spine 4 and lock everything else, that lock inverse selection, now I can't mess with those weights at all, right? They're being like detained pretty much. And I can go in and I can just smooth, and it will smooth the gradient between these two points. If you get that message that says cannot set weight due to locked influences, you can just change this normalized weights to post, and then you can start smoothing them there. See how they're kind of smoothing out between those two. The reason I tell you to lock down your influences first is because if you do this with everything unlocked, like if I unlock everything and then I start smoothing, that weight is going to get spread throughout your mesh. It's going to get spread everywhere. So please, if you're going to do any smoothing, lock everything down first and then do it. So yeah, you can, that way you're only smoothing between two joints and you know exactly where that weight's going. So that's the way of kind of painting those weights. For places like this, because the shoulder is one of the hardest places to get the skinning correct, right? Like there's a lot of different moving parts. And to be honest, you're not going to get 100% perfect deformation. Like you probably, when you raise that arm up, like to the top, you're going to get some pinching in there like that. The deltoid is going to kind of crumple in like this. Like you're not going to be able to get rid of all of that. Like you can make it better, but at the end of the day, it's going to be like a little bit messed up. And what they do in the industry is like for rigs, they'll have a pose up here. And then what they do is they duplicate the mesh in this pose, move it over to the side, and then they one by one actually tweak the verts. Like a modeler would go back in and push and pull those verts out of there and get what they call a blend shape out of that, or a corrective blend shape. And then you tell Maya at this pose, activate that blend shape. And so whenever you move that rig up there, it will automatically kind of fix a lot of the crumpling in there. So that's out of the scope of the class, unfortunately. But I just wanted you guys to know that that's what I wanted you guys to know. Like that's what they do in the industry. You're probably wondering, like, how the fuck do they get it to look like so perfect like they do in Marvel films and stuff? Now, that is that's like the basics of skinning. However, let me just, if you're in control, like I need to move this back to its default position, right? You can always just go in and type in 0 in the translation and rotation values, and it should go back to the start. So that's the basics of skinning, basic skinning. So if you're having a, like, look at when I rotate my face, like the nose area like crumples in and stretches out all fucking weird. So the way I normally fix stuff, places like the face, I just click once and I go to, oops, Control right click, and I just go to UV shell. And then I'm going to deselect some of these edge loops right here. Oops, not that one. Just gonna, oops, deselect this stuff. So I have basically the head selected there. And then with that head selection, I can hold right click, paint skin weights tool. Or whoops, my bad. Oh, not my selection. Fuck. All right, there we go. Let's go into face mode again. I can hold Control right click to vertices. So I'm into verts. Then I can paint skin weights tool, and they're selected still. And then unlock everything when you're doing this. Unlock all of these nodes. You don't want anything holding on to the weights of this. And I'm going to my head, right? Because I want everything to be on that. And I'll just go to add, full opacity, full value, and then click flood. And it's going to flood every single vert that you had selected to there. And notice how I didn't have the eyebrow or the brow or the hair in there. So I can always go back to, instead of mode paint, you can go to mode select. You can just click your shells in here, clicking the hair, I'm clicking the ear. I can just go Control right click, whoops, to UV shell. And then we can go to paint mode back in here, and then flood that geometry again. So now most of it will be fixed. I didn't do the joints for this side of the mustache. So I'll have to go back in to select just to make it look correct. And go to shell. Oh, oops, let me do symmetry off. There, then paint, then flood. There we go. So now the head is 100% flooded. Like the head joint has 100% control over this. And you'll see I don't have any more crumpling of the character. And it looks, well, wait, do I? I do. Ooh, oh. Let's see it, let's see it. Why is this? It's because I'm in normalized weights post. Let's turn that off. Yeah, sorry. So if you're flooding, turn normalized weights to interactive. My bad. Sorry about that. And I'm just selecting one vert from each of those shells that I want to. I don't want to flood. Oops. To UV shell. That's why it helps to have that UV cut up at this point. Paint skin weights tool. Still have the head selected, and I can just flood that. So now it's 1-to-1. But look at how it's pulling on the neck, right? So I need to go in to my paint skin weights tool, and I want to lock everything. I want to lock everything except for the neck and the head, and I want to just have a nice gradient between these, because I want the neck to have the majority of the control over here, and then gradient off towards the base of the skull. So I might as well just start with this. In here. And let's look at that now. There we go. Then I'm going to smooth this gradient between it. Oops. You ever see your verts crumpling in like that? Just try to smooth on like the black side of the gradient, like this. The side that doesn't have much. Or go into add. I prefer add for some situations like this with low opacity. I can just manually go in there and adjust that. My goal is to get a nice gradient between these two. Also, the head should not have influence over this stuff down here. Like, you can see that it's like a little bit gray in there. It's even easier to see if you use color ramp. Like, look, it shouldn't have influence over any of that stuff. So what I need to do is go into neck, and since I have everything else locked, I don't have to worry about overriding any of their weights, even though it'll look like I am. I can just go to add, and I can just paint completely over that, and then click off. See how it doesn't have any influence over that stuff down there anymore. I could do the same for this over here. It's because I'm stealing that weight away from the head. Because everything else is locked down, so I don't have to worry about that. And then you need to go into, so yeah, that's pretty much how you do it one by one. It saves some time starting with like the basic rig stuff that they set up, but like I honestly hate any of this. Like I hate all of this like default skinning because it gets too messy. It just gets too fucking messy. So what I normally do, and it's gonna feel like sacrilege, but I just go to the root and I just flood everything to the root, 100%. I don't care. It's just I know that all my weights are right there. You might be thinking that I'm insane for doing this, but as if you start trying to like mess with those gradients in there, you'll go insane. You'll go absolutely insane. Then I click on the heel or on the hip, and then I could just paint this in actually, 1-to-1. But normally I go in, I select an edge loop of the leg right there. Let me turn off my joints so I don't select over them. And then I just select everything up to the knee. Convert that to verts, and go to paint skin weights. And then I flood that to the hip, right? Because the hip has to move this entire hunk of leg, right? And then the knee is where that fall off would start. So I'd go and select the verts below that. Then I go back into paint, flood that to the knee. And then go into the weights, select the ankle. And I'm sorry guys, you are going to hate this process. It's going to be annoying. This is the annoying process of rigging. It's just unavoidable. And then you're gonna go into ankle. Now that you have those verts selected, you're gonna flood that. You're gonna go into ball. You're gonna select these verts. Then you can go back into paint, ball, flood right there. And it's gonna have a harsh fall off. Like look at how much, since like the knee has complete control over everything else under here. It's gonna be annoying to deal with. But this is where that smooth tool can really shine. And I like to set up some keys in here. And keys we haven't covered it yet because we're about to get into animation in a little bit. But I set up one key at its default pose by pressing S. And then I drag on the timeline down here, the thing that we haven't touched yet. And then go up to 5, and I press S again. And you can see as I drag between them, that it just, since it's animating between them, so I can visually go in at these like in-between stages, and I can lock everything between the knee and the hip, because I need to have this be a gradient instead of just a harsh fall off. So I'm locking everything else, and then I'm going to smooth this. And you see, as I smooth, you can see those verts are falling into a more averaged position. That's what we want. We don't want it to be as harsh of a fall off right there. Ricardo says frowny face. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So now that that's a better gradient right there, it bends a lot nicer. See that? It doesn't bend as harsh. If you want this back of like the hamstring to crumple in more, you can go into knee and just smooth that. See how it's getting a little bit more of the influence there. And if that's not enough, you can go into add with like a low amount. And push that even further. So yeah, that's how I do skinning, is by just flooding everything and then fixing the gradient between the two. And I learned that from the other professor, actually, John Finch. It's the way he teaches it too. It's kind of chaos to deal with that initial bind. If your initial bind is not too messed up, then I'd say it might be worth trying to mess with it. But oftentimes that initial bind is kind of awful. Like you saw the shoulder area on this guy, he was messed up beyond belief. So yeah, this is pretty much all of my students' least favorite part of the class. Like it's this stuff, and I understand why. It's dumb. Even Maya deals with it really buggily. Like look at this. Look at this. Like these verts got pulled to like the center. Like just randomly. Like nice job. If you're ever troubleshooting this stuff, like these why these verts got pulled down here. You can investigate it further by like clicking on each vert and then going to Windows, General Editor, Component Editor, Smooth Skin. You can see that it's not completely on the root joint. There you go. So you can just snap it back there. Then you can go to your object mode, paint skin weights again. Start messing with them from there. So yeah, that component editor will be your friend during this. As I said before, guys, don't try to go for perfect deformation because like I said, we do a lot of different setup to get really nice deformation in the industry. You can get pretty far along in this, but like, but yeah, this is the most tedious part of the class. Sandy, bruh. Yep. Yep. That's about it. Yeah. But this is the most, like I said, this is the most confusing part of the class. So once you conquer this, you'll be fine. And that's also why I say don't procrastinate on this part, because this part takes a lot of it's a high learning curve. It takes a lot of time to get right. Yeah, so that leg's working now. Working pretty nice. Yeah, so that's the, we can mirror this, right? Yes, yes. I want that to be completely clear to everyone. You can definitely mirror it. You can definitely mirror it. Like, don't paint both sides. And if you like, if you get far enough along, like you painted an entire side of it, you can go to skin. Where is it? Mirror skin weights. And then do, if you painted the left side, do positive to negative. If you painted the right side, do negative to positive. And then click apply. And let's test it. Nice. Mirrored over properly. So yeah. Are we continuing this process next week? Yep. Yep. Next week is skinning as well. You'll also be turning in your colored version, your colored character at the start of class. I'll have the Dropbox open. Roberto has sent his rig to me. Let me file save as. I cannot stress the importance of this. Always save as during this portion of the class. This is where like you have a lot of one-way operations in there. Like when you bind the skin, save before you bind the skin. When you start painting skin weights, save before you start that. Like save while you're painting each individual part, because you can do some things that like you might have like accidentally flooded to like an entire part of your character, then like erased the skin weights. So just take it one at a time and save often. I don't want you guys losing work time in here. Let's see, let me save this. Push materials. All right. Let's check out Roberto's rig.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, like it's a lot of steps. No, just overall, there's so many steps.
Yeah, no, that's why I advocate for this class being split up into multiple disciplines. Because think about
That's a lot.
if we could just only do the character art, or only do animation, or only do like the rigging, like it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to give you guys as many tools for the industry as you can get. So I'm gonna go to documents, downloads. With rig, save. All right, so these proxies are in this the position. Let's see if I have the. Oh no, I don't. And let's check out what we got going here. Head tip goes to the top. Usually goes to the top of the head. I'll put it right here though.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's all good. Spine 3, this shouldn't be here. Let's move spine 3.
Dude, my guy's crippled.
Yeah, you guys some issues. Spine 2 should not be here. Why can I not move this up and down? What the hell? Root should be at this center of mass. Oh man, where is? Oh no. All right, I'm gonna add this guy to display layer. Oh sweet Jesus! All right, so spine 4 needs to be down here. Oh man, okay. Oh my God, yeah, I'm glad you hit me up.
I always hit you up. I'm always hitting you up. 3, 4 in the morning. I'm hitting you up.
Dude, sometimes I respond at 3, but it's pretty rare. Pretty rare.
Hey man, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is really hard stuff. It concerns me when people don't ask me questions, because I'm like, are you sure? Like this, especially during this part of the class. Like this is the danger zone of the class. Elbow needs to be an elbow right here. We need to tweak that back into position. Shoulder doesn't look too bad. I'll move it over closer. Clav needs to be down. This knee is too low. Like this needs to be at the actual knee.
Shit, it went up.
And then, yeah, probably when I moved the root, because the root moves like everything.
Yeah, I was messing with that forever.
We can move this. Move these back right there. Yeah. Ball needs to be at the ball of the foot. So it needs to be forward around here. I'm going to move this to the toe. All right. The hands look good. Wrist looks good. What's going on with this though? Jaw's not like super important, since we aren't going to be opening our mouths a lot with these characters. And then I don't think it matters for you, since like the character's entire eye is just black. So I think it'll be fine. I'll still put it in the center just in case, but yeah, so let's double check this. Arrow is pointing away. That was pointing away there as well. And I think we're good. I'm going to save Grinch proxies. And let's generate the rig and see what your skinning looks like. I also emailed you my file to check. Oh yeah. I also want to know if I should add joints to my hair and how. Okay. Generate rig. Let's see it. Nice, nice. Nice, nice. All right. Now let's go for a big moment of truth. Let's see if this will bind nicely to the skin. I anticipate that it might. There's a chance. So if we go into skin, bind skin, let me make sure I have the proper options selected. Bind skin. Let's try moving this head around. Definitely crumples in the face, but that's easily fixed. Let's check how this spine looks. Not too bad.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's working. It's working. Let's see, arm. Not too bad. Might have to just add some weight from that shoulder joint to the head. Let's check out the clav in here. One thing you guys have to worry about is that the clav kind of generates on the inside of the mesh. So whenever after I make the rig, I always go into object mode, and I go to control vert right here. All right. Select all these like magenta points in here. It's probably easier for you guys to see them than they are for me. And then I pull those out to the side. That way I can select my clavicle from anywhere. Let's check this. Nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, honestly, you won't have to do much like painting, like weight painting. So that's pretty dope.
I'm gonna just try to see if I could do some kind of fur.
Yeah, do that with the texture. I'd
see if I
say.
can do it.
Yeah, give it a go. That'd be sweet. All right, let me send this back your way.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. All right, so there's the proxy, and then this is the one with the generated rig in it. I'm just sending them separately because otherwise Google is trying to like have me send it via Google Drive. All right. There you go. All right, now I'm going to check out Sandy's. Download. No. Maya. I bet it's trying to open up Maya 2017. Yeah. No. Oh, it's just opening up a new Maya 2020. Never mind. All right. Okay. Very dope. Very dope. Ankle position might be a bit off. I would, let me see. Why can I not see this? Yeah, I might raise that up here. Yeah. This should be fine. Oops. This might be a bit too high. Lower it down to around here. And then I'll push the clav in a little bit and up. And this I'll move out probably around here. Your elbow's a little bit out of sorts. And instead move this so it's kind of more horizontal. And this elbow, so I see. I'm gonna rotate this thumb out a little bit. It's gonna give you better deformation when you grasp things. All in all, this is looking pretty good though. It's looking pretty good. Okay. So you have an iris there. Okay, yeah. We might have to rig up something like a little bit custom for this. Adding joints to the hair. Yeah, I think adding some hair joints it won't be too bad. In fact, I could just do it real quick on my end. Well, I have the file still. Let's move this. There we go. This elbow is a bit concerning because it I'm going to need to move these polys to get into position there. Unless I can move, I don't think I can though. Oh, okay, yeah, I can move it most of the way. Yeah, all right, this will be fine then. Noise. Okay. Jaw tip, that goes to the jaw. Oh wait, no, I did move all this stuff down. So I need to move that back up. And I'm looking for neck. Their neck, it's gonna be at the base of the neck. And then head, base of the head. Center of mass there. Jaw, looks like it's in the right spot. Yeah, these eye joints are gonna be pretty much useless for you since you have like stylized eyes that are not spherical. Which is fine. Like we'll be able to get something in there for you as well. Yeah, it's looking fantastic. I think you're good to do left to right. Right there. This might need to be a bit further back though. Another left to right. All right. All right. So I'm going to save this out. So this is rig proxies. So if anything messes up after you generate your rig, you can always go back to this file and work with it there. Let's go to let's generate the rig in here and see if it plays nicely with us. I want to test out those elbows because we did mess with them. Get them out. Yeah, looks like it's gonna work. Yeah. Yeah. Do you anticipate moving this flap of hair at all, Sandy? This one going over the eye? Or is that just going to be, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, we should be able to get some joints in there. Do you want me to just do the joint setup real quick? Because it is technical. And I don't want you to be, I'd rather you get onto skinning than set them up. Yeah, I got super lost with the joints. Yeah, I do have a tutorial for those that haven't gotten to the joint setup part yet. Like if you have something like this hair is big, right? So like if you need to add something like this to your character, then please look at that video. If you can't, contact me for some reason. Okay, empty group. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints. I need 5 groups and 5 controls. All right, there. All right, so now we got a joint chain that rotates. It's only a matter of having it follow this main control, child then parent, is P, boom. Now it'll rotate with that. This joint is going to need to be a, well, since this is a separate mesh, we might just be able to get away with, yeah, I think we would be able to. Skin. I'm going to save before I do this. Save scene as. Skin, line skin, joint hierarchy. Here we go. Right there. Nice. You just have to paint the skin weights to get the hair to not get pulled down with rotating them all like that. Yeah, also don't rotate this top one very much because it'll stay better when it's like just balanced that. But yeah, very dope, very dope. But yeah, if you guys have a character that has like a specific, like you need joints for this, feel free to have me look at it. But yeah, also I think we can do that on this. For your iris in particular, I think you're like one of the only, I think Ricardo ended up having a regular eyeball in there. I can't remember though. Let me look into the, say this as something else. There's a new constraint. I think it's called a geometry constraint. Meshes, surface, yeah. Boom. Oh, no, not that way. All right, dope. So now your eye is rigged up as well, and that once you bind your actual geometry to the character or to the joint hierarchy, this should follow it on the surface right there. And the effect kind of fades as it hits these edges. So, but I think we'll be good. I think you can get by without worrying too much about that. All right, so let me save this out and send it back to you. So I'm including the proxies in case shit goes wild and you have to like redo everything. Also including the hair as well in there. Whoa, that's so cool. Hell yeah. Rigging's dope. I'm telling you guys, it's just very technical. Because like this step is where characters come alive, and it's so much fun. Like when they start moving as they should, you're like, yes. But it is very technical. Also, that is why it's like the best paying role in the studio. It's because they have to deal with like so much crazy stuff behind the scenes. Like we're just in like the basic like surface level layer of it, but as you go deeper, it gets wild. It gets super wild. Thank you so much. You got it. You're welcome. We're approaching the last 20 minutes of class, so if anyone else has any rigs that they want me to look at, that'd be fantastic. Because I want to make sure you guys are in a good spot to start skinning. Because I'm telling you guys, skinning takes a long time. It's gonna be really confusing. That's why I use that brute force method of flooding everything to the root joint and then locking down between the two joints that you're working with and smoothing. It's time and time again been a big lifesaver. If you want to use like the default binding for a lot of your stuff, you might be able to flood only like the arm or something. Like if only your arm looks weird. But yeah. Yeah, hit me up with them rigs, my friends.